People fill up my marketplace search with their $1 posts for things they want $4,000, so I say, by user BSPINNEY2666. Hi, I'm definitely interested in this for $1. When can we arrange a pickup? I am fulfilled when they angrily tell me that's not the real price and how clueless I am. Often, did you really think you could buy an item for $1? Why? That's just showbiz, baby. Edit, yes, I have seen people adjust their price after responding to me, which feels like a win. Edit 2, I'm not actually trying to buy the object, I'm usually searching for tools and antiques under $100. Just being maliciously compliant that the truck they posted for $1 is actually posted for $1. New dress code for the IT department, of one person by user Das Chanda. Not my story, written for dramatic effect but not exaggerated or fabricated, TL, DR at the end. The backstory. Father-in-law works for a heavy equipment manufacturer, highway making equipment, machines for gold and gem mining, etc. The machines aren't really relevant to the story, only that they're big and scary enough that everyone is very strict about safety. Well, almost everyone. This company has one IT guy, he does everything from web admin to the ID badges to the printer isn't working, so obviously he needs an office with a computer. Only problem is, most of his job is keeping the ancient assembly line machines on life support, so he's constantly on the factory floor fixing error code TI-86 on machine C137, etc. The problem. One day, one of the VPs of ass-kissing deigns to leave the plush veneer of the C-level suites to enter the plebeian office, and takes great offense to the IT guy wearing jeans, boots and a high-vis vest in their strictly suit and tie office. Protests about his job duties fall on deaf ears, and since the IT department of one person doesn't have an official C-level officer, VP of ass-kissing decides to write a new dress code for the IT department. Suit and tie at all times. No exceptions. IT guy shows up the next day in a suit and tie, tries to fix an error on the factory floor, and, rightfully, gets turned away at the door for lack of safety gear. He spends a few days in his office goofing off while the errors on the factory floor grow and grow. The fallout. Finally, around 3 a.m. one night, big production line X goes down. This is a huge contract for the company might go under if this client goes elsewhere. As such, emergency procedures state all C-level execs and even the owner must be notified immediately if this line stops at any time for any reason, so the upper echelon of the company, including VP Asskisser, assembles in the boardroom to prepare for their firing spree. Around 5 a.m., IT guy is ordered to the boardroom where they really lay into him before they fire him. Threats of blacklisting him in the industry, threats of lawsuits for damages, etc. Of course, there's the condescending "now what do you have to say for yourself?" question. The mic drop. He unfolds a few pieces of paper from his pocket and puts them on the table in front of the owner. This is why I have to wear a suit and tie no matter what, this was my objection because I have to do my job properly, this is the safety officer refusing me entry for lack of safety gear, and this is the record that VP Asskisser got my emails but never responded. Not a pin drop or a cricket chirp could be heard, just the faint ruffling of pages as the owner read. Finally, he spoke. Your so-called dress code is officially revoked. VP Asskisser is no longer allowed to have any authority over you. Please put on safety gear and fix machine TK421. The rest of us will stay here all day until I'm convinced that this problem will never happen again. VP Asskisser kept his job. He was very good at his namesake, after all, but he was transferred to VP of a division that didn't exist in a workforce of one, only him. Rumor has it he's related to the owner somehow, but at least his self-righteousness can't ruin the actual work being done. TL, DR. IT guy needs to wear safety attire to do his job on a factory floor. Random VP is furious he wears that gear in his own office, and makes a company policy requiring him and him alone to wear a suit and tie at all times. Policy backfires because IT guy can no longer fix the ancient manufacturing computers, and production screeches to a halt, potentially costing the owner his entire business. I need to get my priorities straight, by user Mags. A little background. I, 29F, own a home with my fiancé, 30M, and we split expenses and housework 50/50ths. I like to think we contribute equally to the household, but one area we differ in is our work schedules, and I am a night owl/have insomnia. He works the typical 9 to 5 and I bartend during the evenings 4 nights a week with one morning brunch shift. My sleep schedule is very wonky and lately it has been sleeping from about 9/10-2 and a sleepless night or two per week. Before you judge, we have no kids and this works for me. I do my best to stay quiet and want to get things done while I'm awake at night, but don't want to wake him up. Now to the malicious compliance. One day this week we spent the evening tidying up the house together and I thought we both contributed equally and all was well and good, but there were so many dishes that there were some piled up in the sink after we loaded the dishwasher and then they continued to pile up again. This is also a constant issue for us, as he also tends to leave dishes in the sink even when the dishwasher has plenty of space. Last night I had a sleepless night and I spent it quietly in the living room working on a paint by numbers. Tonight I came home and was told, "Your painting looks good, but you really need to get your priorities straight," and mentioned the dishes in the sink. Now this really pissed me off, because most of the dishes were his. I am his partner, not his maid, and I had shoveled our enormous driveway the night prior. I decided he was right. So at 4 in the morning I went to the kitchen and did all the dishes. Loudly. He came to the kitchen and asked me what the hell I was doing. I told him that I was getting my priorities straight and doing the dishes like he asked. Little update, he just got up for work, we both apologized, and he said good job on the kitchen, it looks very nice. Edit, wow, this blew up. Thank you to those who gave/are giving helpful advice. I like to think one rude comment and one act of pettiness doesn't define our whole relationship, as these things aren't a common occurrence. We both made a mistake, so we both apologized for our actions and can easily move forward without resenting one another. I know not everything is exactly 50/50ths, I just meant we both contribute and it's not one person taking care of the entirety of the housework. Those darn dishes just divide us sometimes. Neighbor goes to developer to enforce a rule to protect their view. It backfires, by user Kaiser Sozivk. This story isn't me, but my girlfriend's parents. They were going to build a house in a new development in a lot that was in front of their to-be neighbors. The lot is on a hill, so it is in front of the neighbors, but below them. The neighbors decided they wanted to build a one-story rancher on the lower part of their lot, instead of building something like a two-story on the higher side of the lot. They assumed that whoever was going to build in front of them would only build a one-story themselves, which would keep their view unobstructed. Having a great view was apparently very important to them, and a big selling point on the lot. Her parents start to build their two-story house on their lot, with tall peaked gables. When the neighbors realize their view will indeed be obstructed, they offer to buy the lot off of her parents. Her parents give them the price of the lot, which had increased in value since it was originally purchased, plus the cost of the materials already purchased for the build. They waited for a response, but didn't get one, so they just continued on with their build. A month or two later the neighbors respond to the offer saying they'll accept it. By this time, of course, more time and money has been put into the build, so her parents told them they can still buy the lot, but the price has increased. The neighbors reject the offer. In this new development, all houses are required to have a 2-foot overhang, but many of the homes haven't actually been following the rule, and the developers haven't been enforcing it. Her parents decided to, also, not follow the rule. The neighbors then go to the developer to remind them that her parents need to have 2-foot overhangs, thinking that it would decrease the pitch of the roof, meaning the gables wouldn't be so high. The developers tell her parents to make sure they have the 2-foot overhangs. Her parents go to the architect to find a way to keep the tall gables they wanted, while also having the 2-foot overhangs. The architect tells them to just raise the roof 2 feet to create the 2-foot overhang, so the angles on the roof won't be impacted at all. Her parents keep building with these new specs. The developers approach her parents to inquire about the overhangs and if their roof was impacted at all. The look on his face when her parents told him that they just raised the whole roof by 2 feet was priceless. The neighbors avoided her family the entire 5 years they lived there. Count the minutes on me and I'll do that too, by user Medukv. I work for my family's company. It's an odd, specific line of work, so I'm going to be vague on those details. While working for the company, I am a subcontractor that just uses the company vehicles and supplies. The pay isn't really salaried or hourly but breaks down as X for 0 to 5 HRS of work, 2x 5 to 10 HRS, 3x for 10 to 15 HRS and so on. Also we use the company funds for food and fuel on long-distance jobs, this will be important later. My coworker and I did a 5.5 HR run in 4 HRS 45 minutes by not stopping for food and fueling up when we returned the company vehicle. As this run is very common and is widely acknowledged that it's 5.5-6 HRS start to finish, we suggested we should get the 2x pay even though we were 15 minutes short. Pretty much we saved that time by not eating and being rather good at the procedures and job we had to do. We got denied the 2x pay rate as, by the numbers, we did not meet the 5 HRS cutoff. So we saved the company money on food and they are only paying half the staff wage. Well, fair is fair, we did not meet the timeline, so lesson learned. Since then I've been at least 5 HRS and 2 mints on every job I can stretch it to. Park at rest areas, go inside for food instead of drive-through, take a longer route, anything within reason to make sure I'm at the 2x rate. TL, whatever parents shorted me on the pay rate, they've paid extra ever since.